Well, look, Lova Boy is my friend, but he needs to just, you know, notwithstanding, he needs to just play the music and stop playing with God. Because to grow spiritually, Lova Boy, you have to reduce, my friend. You can't be full of yourself, you know. So slow down, meditate, you know, and change up the genre. Let me break it down like this. The nature of human existence is as follows. Look, you are a dichotomy of a physical and spirit realm. You have a physical body and mind, and you are a spirit being at the core. However, you are neither your body nor mind, although they belong to you. They are your property. Whatever belongs to you cannot be you. So fundamentally, you are a spirit being at the core. You are God breathed, you who only became life when God breathed life into you. You are like an onion with 5 layers or sheets, one inside the other. On the outermost lies your physical body, inside of which you have your mental body, inside of which you have your energy body, inside of which you have your transient body, which is the ghost you will see if you don't properly dispose of the human remains of your relatives. Right? Keep ash in the house and keep the used clothing and so on. And then inside of that, you have a non-physical spirit core. You are a spirit being at the core. Right? A spirit is not measurable. A spirit floats. It's everywhere and nowhere. You know, terms that can only refer to God because they have no coordinates, no boundaries. God is a spirit. People are born spiritual. However, the more identification badges they tend to wear, they adopt, the more they discriminate. The more they discriminate, the further away they drift from their spirit core, for God is impartial. For example, to say, these are my family members, these are my peeps, these are my people, in effect, is saying the other are not. And you are referring to the 8.3 billion world population. And God doesn't discriminate. God is impartial. So given you are a dichotomy, you choose and are either being governed by your physical body and mind, or you choose and are being governed by your spirit nature. People generally choose to be governed through their physical body and mind. Yeah? Only to become frustrated. Yeah, because they yearn for fulfillment and later realize that it is impossible to become fulfilled through the physical body and mind due to the nature of it. It comes with defined boundaries beyond which you cannot go or grow. And everything within the physical created universe, in addition, goes around in a cycle. Different days, same circles. Yeah? To reach a destination, you have to break cycle, my friend. Yeah? A person is not ready to transform and change governance over him or herself until she reaches a point in life whereby she becomes frustrated and comes to the conclusion that, i.e., I know all there is to know, been everywhere, know every darn thing, and still remain unfulfilled. In coming to such a conclusion, she then chooses to abandon the approach of trying to be fulfilled through physical means, body and mind, and thereby dispossess. Yeah, yeah, dispossess, and then determined to change governance over oneself, thereby steering his or her life through the spirit. Now, returning to your spirit core and governance thereby is not a dripping process. Spiritual, likened to spiritual growth. There has to be an explosion initially to go from one realm to the next. Physical realm to the spirit realm, which is the realm of nothingness. In exploding, you go from your rigid state, I was born this way, to becoming flexible, where you You're no longer picky and choosy. I like this, but I don't like that. Then you go to vapor, like two children, when they're blowing bubbles, they say, "This is my bubble, that's your bubble." But after the bubble bursts, you're both breathing the same air. So, and from there, from vapor, you go to the realm of nothingness, which is the realm of the spirit. Exploding is both a bitter and sweet experience because, on one hand, you're dispossessed. At least put a safe distance between you and all else. So when you're making decisions that have to do with physicality, things of a physical nature, you don't discriminate. You no longer discriminate. You know, you look, you don't identify, right? But you associate with all, and without getting entangled, right? The only place I discriminate is in my bedroom and bathroom. Yeah, because it has to do with intimate touching. Mm-hmm. But when I'm making decisions, that have to do with everyone else, when I'm in a gathering, whether it be in the community, in a workplace, if I were still working and so on, in the public and so on, I mingle without getting entangled. Yeah, with everyone, without discriminating. For God is one, and the universe is one energy. I associate with all without getting entangled, but I don't identify. I don't identify because when you identify, you're discriminating. So I don't wear ID badges, neither for church or politics. I no longer. So I'm saying, when you explode, it's a bittersweet experience because, you dispossess, at least put a safe distance between yourself and your ID badges as well as your attachments. And it's sweet because you become enlightened, and experience the life of boundlessness. For the spirit realm is boundless. To be in the dark is to not know something. Therefore, to become enlightened is to know that which you didn't know before. In effect, in exploding, you then become conscious and aware. Now, consciousness is not something you strive for. You turn up the voltage, yeah. And so you become conscious and aware, whereas you were before compulsive in thought and behavior. I, me, my. Living in basic survival mode, like a dog peeing on every downlight post, yeah, forming its peak kingdom. Now, to understand the concept of spiritual growth, you must recognize that whatever is non-physical about you is spiritual, because you're both. You're a dichotomy in transforming. If indeed you transform, you change governance over yourself, and yeah, you bring your body, mind, and spirit under one and the same roof, like a vehicle on four wheels. Then you begin steering by your spirit, have your body and energy system as your two back wheels, and your thought and emotion at the front, constantly bringing the two at the front into alignment because they tend to veneer, go all over the road. And you need all four wheels to go in one and the same direction. So, like I said, given thought and emotion tend to create poisons such as bitterness, anger, envy, hatred. You may intend them for others, but you're the one drinking them yourself. So to every time you're drinking these down poisons, creating and drinking these poisons, you're telling your system you don't want to live. So you're conflicted. On one hand, you're saying, I want to live, right? Your two back wheels are stable, your body and energy system, and then your two front wheels are all over the darn place. One day they want to live, the next day they don't want to live. So you got to straighten yourself out. So to spiritually grow, you've got to be continually physically eroding yourself, where you're near Lova Boy, right? Which primarily happens through community involvement, volunteerism, and service to others. Then you need to understand the difference between growing in expression as opposed to growing in perception. Now, you express yourself through prayer and grow in expression through adoration, making supplication, and through thanksgiving, such as. However, prayer is limited and beneficial only for those things. Outside of supplication, adoration, and thanksgiving, it's buffoonery to play as if you're God's advisor. So, you must choose to grow in perception instead of growing in expression. In order to know anything, you first have to be able to perceive and conceptualize it. Instead of playing God's advisor, at times sit quietly, sit, and be still in meditation and establish a consecrated altar within yourself wherein you're meditative 24/7. Now, meditation is not an act, it is a way of being, it's a manner of being. And it is through meditation that you become enlightened. Learning how to think, feel, and experience life all occur from within yourself. Experiences don't come from outside. So you there trying to squeeze pleasure out of the environment is misguided. Experiences do not come from the environment. The way you are experiencing me right now is through your retina from within yourself. Seeing me through your retina, like I said. To be effective in meditation, you've got to practice stillness and sit on a stable foundation, like a mountain. For all movement comes from stillness. In being meditative, you're operating in the realm of the spirit, the realm of nothingness, which is boundless. That will be all. Therefore, let it be so. Ito latia, gan. Kaya sisaya. Ayo.